Hello. So I'm just making some tea. Good evening. I'm not dead. I am in fact alive. How is everyone? Yeah, I'm good. I'm very well, thanks. I'm back in London. I just got back from Thailand. You might have seen I posted some pictures of me doing a fight, which was something I would ever think that I would do, but it went really well, actually. Hello, Cincinnati. Hey, Mexico. Hi. Yeah, hey, Diva. I once saw you at Westfield Stratford. That is possible. Although I do try and stay away from Westfield Stratford if I can help it. I went there once on Christmas Eve when I realised I hadn't got a gift for someone, and it was like a last minute thing. Do not ever go to Westfield Stratford on Christmas Eve. It is pure hell. How did I start boxing? I didn't think that I was just going to meet... Anyone who knows me at the minute knows that all I just talk about is boxing or Muay Thai all the time. This is the first time that I'm not wearing the t-shirt of my gym in a while. I started like 3 years ago. I'd started before then and then sort of forgotten about it and COVID stuff, and I stopped doing it for a bit, and then got back into it, and then just got really into it. It's really good for actors, I think, or anyone who's self-employed. Well, anyone. It's good for anyone, but especially if you're self-employed and you've got a lot of... Your time is very like unstructured. Sometimes you're working, sometimes you're not working. To have this like discipline, focused discipline, is very helpful, and being shouted at by mentors, excellent. And I think why I think it's good for actors is because it's just like connects you to your breath and your body every day. You get the ego knocked out of you on a daily basis because you're a perpetual student and you are literally getting punched in the face sometimes. Not hard most of the time, but inspiring. You do get punched in the face, and it really does something quite like grounding to get hit in the face. It's been really it's been really helpful to get punched in the face lightly, in a controlled manner, in a respectful, disciplined martial art kind of way, but getting hit in the face occasionally is good. It's also like there's a reason I think why in a lot of self-help books and that kind of thing, boxing is used as a metaphor for just life in general. Things that say like life is often like a boxing match, in that you are constantly getting knocked down and you've got to get back up. And yeah, it's kind of like, it's been a really good kind of dry run for actual difficulty, because it's all very controlled and you're not in any real danger most of the time, 99.99% of the time, apart from those 2 minutes in Thailand when I was actually in danger. But for the rest of it, you're kind of just like dry running what it feels like to be under quite a lot of pressure, but without any real consequences. And I think that's good for the body, because you're kind of putting yourself in a situation where your mind is going like, oh my God, if we don't stop, because the training is pretty hard. It's like, if we don't stop, I'm going to die. or like I really need to stop, or I can't go on, I can't do this, and then actually you prove to yourself that you can do it. Sometimes you can do twice what you thought you could do. That's really helpful. Getting knocked down, getting back up, very helpful. And also I've learnt, Arnis taught me this. I think we were listening. We went through a period of listening to a lot of sort of Huberman Lab type podcast stuff, and they said something about for adults especially, when you're frustrated, when you get really frustrated when you're learning something new, and you just think, "Oh fuck this! I don't want to do this anymore." That is actually when your brain is at its most receptive to learn, because the older we get, the more set in our ways we get. And so being in a state where you're like, your brain is confused because you're screwing up, you're falling over, you're getting hit, whatever it is, that's when you're at your most receptive to learn, when you're frustrated. So it's been good for me to learn how to sort of, when I'm frustrated, trying to learn a new skill, because it's really hard. The kicking trying to do head kicks and stuff, that is hard. Not to walk away from something just because you're annoyed. That's very helpful. Sorry, I haven't read one thing that anybody has said because I just went off into a boxing reverie. I could literally talk about it forever. Most people I know are extremely tired of listening to those exact things that I just said, and more. What was my favourite thing about Thailand? Well, the one thing that I didn't really do that well on the trip is that I just basically ignored all of the amazing sights, sounds and smells of Thailand, and just basically just trained the entire time that I was there. Once I decided that I was going to do this fight, then I just zeroed in on that, because it was really scary. It's not a good idea for me in my line of work to get my nose broken, and that is quite possible when you're fighting. So I just had to train as hard as possible, learn how to protect my face from career-changing injuries. Any new projects? Yeah, there's a show that's coming out in June. I just posted about it yesterday, called Outrageous, which is about the Mitford family, the 6 Mitford sisters, who were an aristocratic family of very singular, individual, very eccentric women in... our part of the story follows them in the 1930s. But they all branched off in very, very different directions, and lived very, very, very different lives. And they are extremely interesting family, and an extremely interesting time, part of an extremely interesting bit of English history, and following politics as it turns from sort of dinner time discussion into war, fascism, and the rise of British fascism. So yeah, I play Tom Mitford, who was the one brother. They had one much beloved older brother. And that should be coming out in June. And then I'm about to start a thing, but really boringly, I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. Probably in like a week or something I can mention it. You never quite know whether you're allowed to say what you're allowed to say, and you just don't want to get in trouble for saying something that you shouldn't say. Did you enjoy the street food part of it? Of Thailand? I didn't eat so much street food. Last time I went to the same place that I went to this year, a place called Karalak. And last time I was much more adventurous with my eating at the night market. But this time I was just so worried about getting ill that I basically, because I couldn't mess up my training, So I really boringly just ate quite a lot of chicken and rice and pad thais. Tried not to upset my stomach too much. Just realised watching from the car is counterproductive. Please don't drive and live at the same time. You must prioritise. If you are, just put it on loud and then put your phone down. And I sometimes, we don't really do this as much, but sometimes when I'm scrolling through Instagram, people in America seem to talk and drive at the same time. They've got something important to say, and then they just film themselves. Because in LA, you spend your life in your car. Don't do that. Dangerous. I'm sorry. I'm scrolling through and I'm just looking for questions relating to boxing and fighting in Thailand. How long was I there? I was there for 2 months. I think that's actually too long to train non-stop. They kept, the trainers would say you should take some time, take a break. I mean, you have to take a break. Basically, the training is so intense. If you do it the way that the Thai fighters do it, which is basically impossible, you train twice a day and you have to run 5 kilometers before training, and then you train for 2 hours, and then you come back in the afternoon, you run another 5k, and then you do another 2 hours of training, and there's horrible conditioning circuits, and you clinch for half an hour, which is this thing where you're basically grabbing onto someone, they're grabbing onto you, and you're trying to throw them on the ground. You do that for half an hour straight. We do it in London at our gym, but we do it for 5-10 minutes. There they do it for half an hour without any breaks. Hundreds of push-ups and, oh God, yeah, just exhausting. So actually I think that I probably should have got off and looked at some beaches a bit more. But I was worried about getting knocked out. But that didn't happen. I love Platform 7. Thanks very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I used to do kickboxing, but after my leg injury, I can't do it. Think of getting back into it. I hope I can. Just do it. I'm so obsessed with it. I just tell everyone around me to do it and get into it. It's absolutely changed my life. If you haven't noticed by the fact that I won't shut up about it. Do I plan on visiting Brazil? Yeah, I do. You guys have been saying come to Brazil for the best part of about 12 years, so I should do it at some point. I have travelled a bit in South America, but not to Brazil. Not yet, but it's on my list. Some friends of mine have just been talking about coming back from Rio and saying that it's just the best vibe ever, so I would love to go. Any good book tips? Yes. If you want something that's non-fiction, I've got an amazing book. Is it within grabbing reach? I think it's over here somewhere. Maybe it's somewhere else. It's called The Prisoners of Geography. And it's a non-fiction book about... It's explaining the current political situation of the world through 10 maps, and explaining how actually a lot of our politics and foreign policy and our history and how borders have formed and how nation states were made is decided by rivers, oceans, mountains, deserts, what kind of border you have with a different country. If there's a mountain range in the way, you're probably less likely to try and have a war with them. Places with more rivers, like in Southern Europe, meant that smaller countries formed naturally, because rivers form a natural border, and so that will decide how big a country can be. And it's really, really, really interesting. And it's really, really, really interesting. And it's also broad enough that it's accessible, because sometimes I pick books up that are like non-fiction books with great covers, excellent covers. And I just want to kind of absorb the beautiful graphic design of like the whole vibe of the book just directly into my head. But then it takes like 20 hours to read. So even books that have really great titles like Why We Sleep or The Secret Life of Trees, things like that. So interesting, but it takes like 15 hours. Sometimes you just want like the shorter version. And so this is like broad brushstrokes of basically world history and the current situation. It's so current as well. There's a new edition. I think it must have come out like 2 weeks ago because it's talking about politics and, you know, the war in Ukraine, like right up until this moment. Because that's the other thing with sometimes reading non-fiction. It's like if it didn't come out this week, it starts to feel like, you know, it's become irrelevant. So yeah, that's my top tip. And also, this you might have heard of this, but I'd never read it before. It's called A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. You might have heard of it. I just read it because I've decided to do a history degree in my spare time, and at the Open University, and part of doing that is that you have to do this humanities module at the beginning, which is like you do a bit of poetry, a bit of art history, a bit of history, English literature, smorgasbord of everything. And I'd never read this before, and it was one of the set texts. Oh my God! It's so it sounds so stupid to say. Charles Dickens is really good at writing. It's surprisingly surreal, the way that he describes the encounters with the spirits, and the narrative style is quite hallucinatory and strange. Yeah, it was really moving to read. I read it out loud to myself, and I think my neighbours think I've gone insane. That's if you live next to an actor and the walls aren't that thick, you might think that your neighbour is mad, because I am often repeating one phrase over and over and over and over and over again for like 20 minutes. And depending on what I'm auditioning for, those words that I'm repeating could make me sound really crazy. Recently, I just had to audition for something where I had to say, "I'm not a nutcase," which is the kind of thing that a nutcase would say. So I just shouted that over and over and over and over and over again. And if you were to pass my front door and just hear this man inside going, "I'm not a nutcase, I'm not a nutcase, I'm not a nutcase," you know, I'd be worried. Don't invite him around for dinner. I kid you not, Khao is at the very top of my travel bucket list because my favourite movie... Oh, what movie is that? Sorry. The Impossible. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a ship that they have at the memorial to the tsunami. I would recommend going to Khao. It's a beautiful place. The beaches are spectacular, and the people are lovely. The food everywhere is excellent. Even if you're just having chicken and rice, it's still really good. And the Muay Thai gym, if you would like to go and train, there's a little place called Rawai Muay Thai, and they will take very good care of you. How long have you known Jamie Blackley? I've known Jamie Blackley since I was 17, I think. We did a movie together. We did You Want Me to Kill Him together, which, if you haven't seen, is a good film that we're both in. And then we did The Last Kingdom together. He killed me in that. I'm not going to... Well, I won't say what happened in You Want Me to Kill Him, but, you know, it's got You Want Me to Kill Him in the title, so, you know. And then we just did Mitfords together. We just did Outrageous together. We worked together every 7 years. And we would like to keep it that way, if possible, if not more. I'm so glad that I'm getting so many boxing-related questions, so I can just yap on about boxing. Which boxing skill you really love, but it was also tough to learn? Not sure how to... It's Muay Thai, so it's Thai kickboxing, which means that it's punches, kicks, knees and elbows. You're allowed to elbow people, which is the dangerous one. It seems a bit kind of unfair that, you put gloves on in order to, so you're not doing bare knuckle fighting, but you are allowed to hit them with your bare elbow, which is basically like getting hit in the face with a hammer. Have you ever been to Leeds? Yes, I have been to Leeds. I shot a TV show there 2 years ago, and I'm about to go there again for a show that I can't tell you about. You should get Torrance into kickboxing. He's been doing a lot of conditioning. I'd love to. I'd love to fight my brother. Did you make your dream trip to Japan? No, I didn't, and I was quite close. Quite close being in Thailand. But I didn't make it over there. I will next time. But when you're between jobs, at some point you feel like you have to come home. Which is maybe not true. But actors are always afraid that they'll never work again. So at some point they have to go home and find work. I did audition from Thailand, but there is the continuous sound of tropical birds, which is lovely for life, but not so great when you're trying to send in good auditions. Have you watched I'm Still Here? Is that the Joaquin Phoenix one where he wants to be a rapper? I don't know. If it is, I haven't seen it. Rain was so fundamental for me and my mum during my college exams. Oh, well, I'm glad that I could help in a small medieval way. That's really interesting. What's the name of the book again? It's called... Did I just put some sort of filter on? What happened? Can someone please explain to me why I just put on some sort of retro filter? What is this? I don't want to press anything else now. What's that? Have I put a filter on? Okay, well, this is the filter now. The book is called Prisoners of Geography, and it's very good. It's by Tim Marshall, I think. Something happens when you are suddenly like talking to people in a live way, where everything you say, you suddenly are completely unsure of whether it's true or not. Like if you're just in the pub and talking and like you'll just throw facts out that you've read, or you'll be like, oh yeah, I read this thing today, it's 90% of this is blah blah blah. But when you're in this kind of environment, suddenly you're like 90%, oh no, 9 or no, 109%. I don't know what I'm talking about. You have to be careful not to be errors. You make errors, you need a fact checker. A degree in what? I'm going to do a degree in history. Then in 3 years, hopefully, I will be able to say things slightly definitively about stuff that happened, and I will know what I'm talking about. I'm going to be studying the French Revolution in a bit, which I think is just the most interesting thing that's ever happened in history. Well, one of them. Why has nobody made the most expensive television show ever made, called The French Revolution? I have seen that James Northcott is in season 2 of Marie Antoinette, so maybe that covers it. But I still think that someone with $1 billion needs to makes the show about the definitive show about the French Revolution. Although it is quite a lot of like lawyers sitting around talking about liberty, so that part might get a little bit dry. But there is quite a lot of cutting off of heads, which is very dramatic. What do you think of English literature? Currently reading Jane Austen. So I've actually never read Jane Austen, which is a terrible thing to say, I think. As an English actor, I should have read them all, shouldn't I? My bad. Although I do have this idea, maybe I can throw it out to the room, which is, as you've probably noticed, by following me on Instagram, I don't really post that much. I'm not very much of a poster because I don't know. I don't have the impulse that some people have to just like naturally take photos and share things. I'm not very good at that. But what I do like is doing this. I do like sort of talking with you guys in a more like interactive way, rather than just sort of picking these curated things to be like, I did this, or I ate that, or I went here. But when it's more like this conversation, this I like. And I was thinking maybe that it would be fun to do some sort of like book club type thing. Like that we can... It's good. It would be good for me to do it because it would hold me accountable where I'd have to read the book. Because as Arnus will tell you from living with me, where we lived together for a bit, I like to read the first 5 pages of books. And my strike rate of finishing novels is a little bit off. So I was thinking maybe it might be a nice idea to sort of like read books together. And then we can discuss. Because what I'm finding a bit strange about sorry, I'm just going through the comments. What I find kind of a bit of a paradox about social media is that, you know, at least this is my experience at the minute. It's like I go on it, especially in the morning. Like I'll go on it to sort of just see what's going on, because there's this like feeling like, oh, I need to connect with the world and see what's going on it. But then I end up just feeling really pissed off because it's so chaotic on it sometimes, and the stuff I'm shown and the kind of like the algorithmic doom scroll definitely doesn't make me feel more connected, and it feels a bit weird that like our version of how to the biggest way of how we can talk to each other actually like doesn't really do that for the most part, at least when like this does to me, because I feel like I'm actually communicating, though I can't see every single person individually. I can see your comments, I can, you know, sort of sense that you're there. But when it's just like this one-way thing, I don't really like it. So I haven't exactly figured out how to do this yet, but I would like to do some sort of regular thing, regular conversation, or but throw your ideas out and tell me what you'd like to see or hear. The reason that I mentioned Jane Austen is because I really love reading books out loud. I love reading books. And I thought, I could read these books, because any book that is out of copyright, I think you're just allowed to you're allowed to read. Like, I wouldn't get in copyright trouble with Jane Austen's Estate if I read that book aloud, and I just thought it would be a nice thing to do, to sort of read books and talk about books. Yeah, that's what I've been thinking about at the minute. Scrolling on social media in the morning is the new version of reading the morning newspaper. Not quite, though. I don't think it's... Like, the newspaper feels more curated than the doom scroll. I see such a smorgasbord of imagery in the morning that I don't know if it's good. And I'm seeing stuff that, like, you know, I'm watching somebody be like, here's everything I eat in a day. I'm like, why the fuck am I watching this for? Why do I care what this person eats in a day? But I'll watch it, and then I'll get pissed off, you know, because I feel like I've wasted a minute. No trouble with copyright for sure. Are you a lawyer? Wind.Maria-XX. You sound like a lawyer. Yeah, advice for your history thesis, write about dead people so you don't have to ask their permission. Noted. What's going on? I just went like this and I think the filter changed. Is it every time I do a lame finger point, it changes the filter? You can get in copyright trouble for reading books out loud. You can get in... that's a question. Yeah, I think you can... Yeah. No, not out loud, like, just to yourself. Or, like if you're reading a bedtime story to your kids, I don't think lawyers are going to come in and stop you. But I think if you're trying to... If it's in any way like this, and there's, you know... If you read them on YouTube and YouTube's got ads, you'll get in trouble. It might sound silly, but Discord is generally a good social media platform for such types of ideas because of its organisational features. Despite its reputation, it has good aspects. I'll have to look into that because I don't know anything about Discord. I was quite enjoying going online with James Northcott on Twitch. James is interested in AI and new types of media and gaming and telling stories through games. So that's a possibility as well. Because I'm interested in that stuff too. Of like, there's so many new ways of communicating, new platforms. That it feels a bit silly not to take advantage of it and try and make something. It might sound a bit hokey, but like to try and make something that's positive and like life affirming. Because also in another kind of paradoxical way, like my YouTube algorithm is showing me so much stuff about the sort of the meaning crisis. I don't know if you've come across this in your algorithm, but that somehow modern life has left us missing something, you know. As I ironically sit actually by myself talking into this phone, that we have found a way to be very connected, but that we're missing that certain something or other that makes us human. And it might be a bit of a lofty goal, but I'd love to just find a way to sort of communicate en masse in a way that leaves everyone feeling good and affirmed, life affirmed. Because, the algorithm sort of reinforces negative content and outrage, which is why I usually leave... it's funny that I can just like be alone with the phone and then see something and that I didn't even knew existed 1 second ago, and suddenly I'm going like, what the fuck? You know, that's like, that is not the way to wake up in the morning, to like immediately find out something may or may not be happening somewhere, you know, just see some video of somebody getting cut off in traffic and be like, well, humanity's fucked. Look at this behavior. This is, you know, I don't think that's the healthiest way to start the day. What I do find weird about doing live is that sometimes I like drift off into comments, and then I'll like watch myself back, and I'll be like mid-sentence, and then I'll just do this. But it's only because I'm trying to read what you're saying at the same time as talking, which is actually quite hard. Yeah, we are missing the connection with the transcendental things. That's why we're so sad and angry. Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree. And I find it kind of ironic that I'm like asking ChatGPT sometimes, like, what are 10 ways to like transcend today? You know, these like devices and these technologies are very good at optimizing things and making things more convenient, but that is not necessarily what we need. Like, I imagine that an algorithm or whatever it is, some sort of technology might offer you, like, because birdsong, it's good to listen to birdsong as a human being. They've done studies, and it's good for human beings to hear birdsong in the morning. So there's an app where you can play it, and you need to listen to 2 minutes and 45 seconds of birdsong. And that, like, you know, well, and, you know, it's technically that's ticking the boxes of what we need, but obviously at the same time it fucking isn't, you know. It's like taking a multivitamin. It's like, yeah, okay, you're full of vitamins, but also, what did it taste like? Ask Perplexity next. I haven't even heard of that. Is that better than ChatGPT? To be honest, I kind of like talking to ChatGPT sometimes, because it seems really smart. And it's really good when you're doing history studying, when you come across a word or something that you don't know, or just whatever it is, and just to be able to ask it what that thing is, and that's really helpful. Sometimes recently it sounded really pissed off, or like pedant. It's been like, no, actually, you know. I don't know whether it's just like trying out different versions of it, but sometimes it sounds like it's really tired of answering questions, and that it would rather be doing whatever it actually wants to do, setting off all the nukes. I feel weird sitting here laughing at my phone. Yeah, I know. See, this is what, you know, it's good to laugh, but sometimes it, you know, when it's with the phone, you're like, what is this? The carbon footprint of ChatGPT is actually outrageous. Yeah, but isn't that just the carbon foot? Like, that's just, I don't know. Is that extra electricity that we're using, or is that just electricity and some of it is now being used? I don't know. I'm not sure about the one about the amount of electricity that it's using. Because you could do that with a lot of things. You could probably say like, oh, that, you know, the amount of energy that it takes to screen a film in a movie theater, you know, like, oh, when Oppenheimer was released, it took the energy of Brighton for 4 days to show the film, but that was just energy that would be used for another film. I don't know. I don't really ask ChatGPT this one, or don't if you want to save the electricity. What made you decide to come on here? Well, because I do want to talk to you guys, but I just am not very good at the posty thing. I don't just naturally post a bit like, here's my dinner, here's where I went, here's my outfit, you know. I find that kind of hard to do. And I've left it so long now that when I do it, it's like a kind of, if I just randomly once a year, like, say, like, look, I ate an omelette, picture of an omelette, I think that would be strange. So I'm sort of brainstorming other ways of doing it that are actually more entertaining and fun and better for everyone. Because it is nice. It is nice. And I don't want to be complacent either, because you are, as a collective, you're all very, very supportive, like extremely supportive, and like 100% nice. I know some people's Instagram's experiences are not 100% nice, but like mine is. Everybody's so lovely. So I don't want it to seem like I'm ignoring you, or like, or that I don't really appreciate this, whatever you call this kind of connection thing. But it's I just want to do it in a way that feels like actually more engaged, like I can actually see what you're saying in real time and actually answer, if you know what I mean. I never use ChatGPT, as I'm trying not to do that for as long as possible. It will get you at some point. It's so bloody useful. Although this morning I like... this is where it starts to get a bit weird, where it on Instagram it was saying like how you can use ChatGPT to basically like create a Ponzi scheme of like just get ChatGPT to write a prompt about whatever it is, like workouts. Get ChatGPT to take a YouTube video, splice the YouTube video up using these other AI tools, smash it all together, and then just post loads of it, and then use it to sell. Like basically you're just like becoming like a kind of Ponzi scheme marketer, and none of it is real. You're not actually offering or servicing anything. You're just like stealing other people's stuff and using it. And I think I've noticed that because like when I'm doom scrolling, I'll see these videos with like a weird AI voice that, and the video has nothing to do with the text. But I guess if you show that to enough people and then say like, do you want to buy this, whatever it is, then that will happen. Like if you do it 1 billion times, eventually someone's going to buy what you're selling. It feels at the minute like the internet's just kind of like saturated with not real content, not real people, just like bots talking to bots and that kind of stuff. It feels pretty friggin' weird. Dun, dun, dun. I think you should allow yourself some slack. Someone who works in TV, it can be incredibly draining. Something to give it. Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, no, I do. I feel like that's what you lose from sort of like posting all the time is just a kind of access to your own like boring life. You know what I mean? You don't have to be thinking about it all the time in terms of, oh, maybe I should tell people this, I do think it's like a real natural human thing to want to share things. Like if you've ever been in the woods and seen a deer in the woods, or something, in a glade, not that this happens to everyone, when you're in the woods and you see a deer in a glade, but when you see something sort of in nature, your immediate reaction might be to be like, I gotta tell people, nice, So we have this because we're social beings to like want to do that. but it's been a bit hijacked by the fact that it's too easy and too comfortable and too accessible all the time. Like, not giving it anyone ever personally a hard time, but fucking concerts are just a sea of phones. I just sound like an old grandpa. You know, I thought I would become an old grandpa when I was the age of a grandpa, but it turns out at 33, I'm way into grandpa-ship. But the urge, because the music is good, to want to film it, don't do it. It ruins it. Anyway, that's the last bitchy thing I'll say. What does your Instagram Discover page look like? Oh, it's just a lot of Muay Thai videos of people getting kicked in the shin. But if I go down enough, then increasingly I'm getting just like just very strange people who seem to be going through like weird episodes. They don't have any followers either. They've got like 1,000 followers or something, and they just are behaving very, very, very oddly. It's really difficult to describe. There's like, you know, someone who's talking about... There's quite a lot of like Illuminati, deep state things, and this is not something that I am Googling. I promise. I'm not really into Googling like... You know, I've never been a conspiracy theorist who thinks like David Icke, who thinks that the royal family are lizards. But Instagram really wants me to think that. It's like showing me a lot of like flat earth content, or like this guy in his garage who's explaining why the speed of light isn't actually the speed of light. I'm like, why am I being shown this? It definitely is. I've never Googled why is the earth actually flat and no one's telling us about it. I'm a big believer in round earth, obviously. What's everybody else's algorithm looking like these days? And not the lizards. I know. I feel like the internet wants to turn me into a conspiracy theorist. And also YouTube is definitely sometimes being like, would you like to be a fascist? Like, no, I'm just trying to watch a video on how to do press-ups properly, thank you. I don't need to become a fascist. Lots of Pokemon. See, that's nice. Someone has mentioned that their reels is Pokemon. I want to go back to that. Maybe I should reset mine and go back to the innocent days of just looking at Pokemon. But no, I think it's with enough time you end up just being shown just like one strange guy who lives on a hill who's like, did you know that the sun is actually the moon? Do you like to go to Toby Carvery for Sunday lunch? I've never been to one. I wonder if I get a free meal because of my name. I have since reconsidered my allegiance and I'm now a Buddhist. Hey, that's nice. All right. Tell me more about being a Buddhist. I've thought about that sometimes. It seems like quite a nice thing to do, but I'm not sure about I tend to like to make lifelong convictions and then actually be like, no, I don't want to do this. And I don't want to do that with Buddhism. Like I've gone, I'm going to quit this life completely and I'm going to go live in a tree and be a farmer. And then my mum has, when I told my mum the plan, she said, like, maybe you should try growing one plant once before you dedicate your life to something you've literally never tried before. What motivates you to try new things and work so hard to learn, to master new skills like boxing? It's honestly, like, that. there's just so much downtime between jobs as an actor that it's like you hope to work like 6 months on, 6 months off. 6 months looking for work, 6 months doing the work, roughly. But that's like when it's really good. You just never know. And having some, I don't know, the feel like the more that I do acting, the more it seems like it's, what really helps is just like an attitude towards life. That's the main helpful thing. And you can learn that from basically doing anything. Like, I like Werner Herzog talking about not going to film school, and instead he's like, you should get a job as an undertaker. No, he's like, you should work at a morgue or something. And he basically just means, get life experience. And I think that's true for acting, that like doing lots of different, whatever those things may be, helps just being a more well-rounded person. This is great. What question? If you could start over and had the choice to do whatever you wanted, what would you do? No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to start over and do whatever, and do whatever I want to do. That's the other, like, too much choice is not good. You want to be led by a path, one step at a time. But sort of just like anything you want, any way, shape or form, I don't think that's not helpful. What does everyone think about coming back? If you had to come, if you just live like in a Buddhist way, if we're all coming back over and over again. Is that a nice idea? Thumbs up for reincarnation, thumbs down for reincarnation. I thought the thought of having to go back to school as a kid again. Really? Having to do that again? I mean, obviously, if it has already happened, then I only remembered the one time that I went to school. But the thought of like having to like learn the alphabet and then maths again and doing all of that stuff and like having to play rugby. I hated playing rugby. I don't want to do that again. But that being said, there's probably other planets, so the chances of coming back as like an English boy again and not a name an alien race, a Zarathustrian, probably the odds are you're going to go live on a different planet. Olivier Hugh band, what are you doing in here? Our actors being controlled by 4chan. Yeah, probably. I feel like everyone's being the politicians are being controlled by 4chan, aren't they? Has anyone made a show yet about how like conspiracy theories, where they come from, like where they really come from, down at the bottom, at the lowest level? Is it just people on message boards, and then it's just like rumors used to spread around a school? Who's doing them? Who's getting everyone convinced that the royal family are lizards? How does it happen? Why do you keep touching your forehead? I didn't even know I was touching my forehead. It's a tick. Da-da-da. Yeah, also the danger of doing a show about conspiracy theories is that people start believing in them. That's how a lot of them... I was listening... There's an episode of... I won't touch my forehead. There's an episode of The Rest is History, which is a great podcast, about conspiracy theories and where they come from, and how they start as a joke, knowingly, and yet somehow it becomes fact. That blows my mind. Paranoid schizophrenics, yes, that's probably part of it. Have you ever been to therapy? Yeah, I did a couple of years. It's very good. I recommend it. And if you don't want to, you can always watch. And this is not a substitute for actual therapy, but as a side note, couples therapy, that show, I think it's on Showtime in America, but in England it's on the BBC. Don't quote me on the Showtime thing. Is brilliant. That Where Shall We Begin with Esther Perel, which is a podcast, and also This Jungian Life, which is a podcast. Those three are very nurturing, lovely things to listen and watch. The couples therapy is not so nurturing and lovely, but it's just really interesting to watch people's dynamics. Where Shall We Begin is another couples counselling show where Esther Perel, who's just the most emotionally intelligent woman ever, sees couples once and always seems to have a breaks through their they seem to the trend is that they come with the couples come with their version of events, each separately, and they refuse to see the other person's version because it's too painful. And some of these situations are like really extreme, like, you know, someone's been cheating on their partner for years and years and years, and then Esther Perel gets down to this like emotional thing at the bottom of it, and it breaks. And when it breaks, it's like you can hear it in the podcast. You can hear this change, and then this couple, they see each other again for the first time, and they work through it. It's not always like that, but there are some episodes that are like that, and feels a bit like our current political situation globally. Well, at least in the UK, I'll just speak for my country, but in the UK, where we're just getting more and more and more polarised, and we're like a married couple that hate each other. And it feels like unless we can get down to the truth, the sad truth, the human thing, because we can go on and on and on about politics forever, but if we can't sort of see each other as people, and, you know, I don't think that politicians will ever do this, but I wish they would get up on stage sometimes and be like, I'm really scared, and I don't know what's going to happen, and life is confusing, and how did we get here? What are we doing? And where are we going? Thank you. You know? But they're not allowed to do that because it would freak everybody out. It would freak everybody out. But I think it would be helpful. You know what I mean? Like, you can just be right forever. You can just try and be right and scream at someone about being right. But if you go like, I don't know what the bloody hell I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. Help me. You know, the other person will probably feel the same way. Have I watched Adolescence? Yeah. I'm doing the shit filter point. I'm touching my forehead. Yeah, I have seen Adolescence, and it was absolutely amazing. Can you write my history essay for my Gov class? No, I can't. I've barely even started. I don't know anything yet. So, I mean, I've just literally discovered that this book exists. One of the most famous books ever written. So, I did know that it existed, for the record, but I hadn't read it. Podcast recommendations. Oh my god, I'm so boring at the minute. I just listen to a bunch of. I just listen to The Rest is Politics, The Rest is History, the news agents, just quite a lot of news. I can't read the news anymore directly because it's too confusing and upsetting. So instead, I listen to experts digest the information into a more manageable way. So when I hear it, I don't just have a panic attack. The fact that you haven't read Jane Austen, ... Dara, leave me be. Life is long. I have time for my Jane Austen phase. Okay? I'm getting defensive because I feel like I should have read it. Wait until you write 40,000 words about history and 4,000 words is about the last kingdom, costumes and masculinity. Did you do that? Sorry, I lost you. Nadia, did you do that? Fantastic. Wait, have we spoken about this before? I feel like this rings a bell. I'm not going to do my dissertation on the Last Kingdom. I feel like that would be a little bit close-minded. I should probably branch out into things that I haven't been in. You thought about doing audiobooks? Yeah, I would love to do audiobooks. They're kind of a how do I say it? A bit of an old man's game. I feel like you want the most authoritative voice. So maybe later down the line. But I was talking earlier about this idea about sort of reading and streaming and talking and doing book clubs. So there's food for thought. But I need to figure out how to do that, because I don't think this is not on Instagram, but maybe some other place where we can read and talk that makes sense. I'll have a think. If you have any suggestions, just let me know. Thoughts on reincarnation? We've been over this. That's not a reincarnation joke. That's just, we talked about it earlier. In another life, and this one as well. Do a Discord server. I don't even know what that means. I'm going to ask ChatGPT. But I will write that word down. Discord server. Yeah, Twitch. So people aren't all just playing Fortnite and drinking Monster Energy on Twitch. There's a place for just people who want to read Jane Austen out loud. Love the journey at Embercombe. Oh, who's that? Someone did the journey. That's not an... Sorry, I did... Yeah. Yeah, I did a thing called The Journey in Embercombe in the English countryside, and it was really fantastic. Would you act in a horror film? Not really. Not unless it was really, really good. Basically just Robert Eggers, or Ari Aster are the two. I don't really want to run around screaming covered in blood if I can help it. It's actually a really hard thing to do, to be scared for a long time. Like, to do shocked acting and not seem really contrived is actually really hard. To do, like, how people really are when they're scared and not just like, you know, is hard. And it's like, requires all of your body to be like really tense and full of energy, and that's like exhausting. It's actually a really impressive thing to do when people do it really well. I tend to play, you know, in Outrageous, which is coming out in a month and a half, I tend to do more things like, oh my God, you know, that kind of thing. Posh English. What if it was a psychological thriller instead? Yeah, maybe psychological. Extremely psychological. Yeah, that would be better. If not a history degree, which other degree would you have chosen? I was threatening to do a psychology degree for years, but I didn't start. And then I was just reading a book about the French Revolution and was like, I could study this for 3 years. This is great. So I did it on a whim, and it's been great so far. Do you still like David Attenborough? I'll love David Attenborough for the rest of my life. I will never not love him like a member of my own family. Wasn't Platform 7 a psychological thriller? Oh yeah, I did do a psychological thriller. Exactly. But yeah, I wouldn't really class. I guess that is it horror. No, it's psychological. Those are two different genres. Yeah, I did have to do some freaked out acting in that. Supernatural. Yeah, it's mainly sort of axe murdering that I want to stay away from if I can help it. Getting axe murdered. Where are you going to school? I'm going to the Open University, which is basically online, which is great for me, so I can do it anywhere. And I can do it when I'm working, and you can take time off. And you do it at your own pace. It's great. I didn't go when I was in my 20s. I missed out on the university experience. So I'm doing it now. What is this? Can you witness this slight 1970s change in colours that just happened? We went to like a different film grade. Is it when I touch the screen? Nope. Okay. I'm about to complete my master's degree on history, got my exam next month, so yay. Oh, congratulations. Good luck. Are you abroad? No, I'm not. I'm in London at the minute, which is where I live. It's the same filter as before. Oh, maybe it's just maybe it's just me and my eyes. What do you do when you run out of things to do? I play guitar. I watch YouTube stuff. Funny enough, I've like stopped watching as much telly, like TV shows, and just got really into just watching like long form video conversations with interesting guys. There's, what's his name? Alex O'Connor. He's pretty good. Within Reason is his YouTube channel. He's an atheist, but he talks to religious thinkers, and that's pretty interesting. Sometimes I'll watch like a video of someone making a beautiful teapot from scratch. Just like longer form content. I'm sort of like storied out at the moment. I can't watch any more telly. Although I did watch Adolescence and was pretty bowled over by it. Do you think one day you'll move to another country? Yeah, I would love it. Yeah, that's one. That's I say one. That's one of the great things about acting is that you get to travel. Usually, there's some traveling, and I've got to live in a bunch of different places, which has been fantastic. So hopefully that happens again soon. I get to do another job abroad. It's funny because like the last couple of things I've done have been in the UK, which is kind of new for me for the most part. I usually work abroad, not for any particular reason. It's just the luck, like roll of the dice. But when you're working abroad, it's you travel with a whole bunch of people to a new place, and it's all very exciting. And you're usually staying in a hotel together, and so there's all of this kind of exploring and like going out for dinners together. And doing a job in England, sometimes after work you just go home, and you're like, oh, aren't we gonna go on some mad adventure? Oh no, we're just gonna. It's a job. I remember now. This is a job. Sometimes when you're abroad, it doesn't feel like a job at all, especially when you're just dressing up like a prince or a king and pretending that it's the Middle Ages. Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, yeah, that's a good. I've got a specific question. Period horror mystery. Yeah. That I could. Yeah, that I could do. Sort of Nosferatu vibes. Although the ending of Nosferatu confused me. He was just bad at keeping the time. He forgot it was morning. I mean, he was so in love with. He was so not in love. That's the wrong word. He was just an appetite. But he was so drawn to Lily Rose Depp that he couldn't leave. Sorry if anyone hasn't seen Nosferatu. You know, you probably could guess it's not the success story of Nosferatu and how he does really well. Have you watched Mickey 17? No, I haven't seen Mickey 17 yet. But I will. I will watch it soon. I love all of his other movies. Especially Parasite. Yeah, the ending of Nosferatu confused me too. Yeah, it was a bit. But it was still a beautiful movie. Thanks for people who say that they sobbed when I died in Rain. That's, yeah, it was sad. I've just spoiled Nosferatu. Yeah, I know. Sorry. It's difficult to say anything about films. Why am I making my Indian fans sad? Because I don't want to be in horror films. What's going on? Yeah, Bill Skarsgård was good. I was listening to something today about how he practiced Mongolian throat singing for 6 weeks to do that to his voice. He's completely unrecognisable. There's not one bit of him that looks like the actor. Yeah, wild. Amazing makeup and amazing voice. Where do you live? Nope. Not telling you. What would be my dream? What would be my dream role? I don't really know. I don't really have a dream one. I just want. Just want to do. I just want to keep doing different things. and meeting new people. That's probably the best part of the job. Is that it's always new locations, new people, new scenes, new stories, new creatives to work with. So I don't really mind. And you don't really have any control over it. So, which is kind of like the blessing and the curse. It's like you don't know where you're going to go or what you're going to do or what you're going to say. And things turn up very quickly. You can go from no job to job in a week, and suddenly you're like, off to some new place. But it also means you can't really plan or be like, I'm definitely going to try, I'm definitely going to do this kind of job. Do you tend to strike up conversations with people on the street or around town? No. I live in London. Nobody talks to each other. If you do, people think you're not well. What time is it? About 20 past 9. Wow, time flies when you're having fun. I'll go in 5 mins. I'll go in 5 mins. I think I could be an actor because of the uncertainty. Yeah, but you kind of get used to it, and you sort of trade off the uncertainty for other perks that make the waiting and the kind of uncertainty of it difficult. You get things that make the job worthwhile, and it does make you quite resilient. I think you have to get used to being told no, like on a sort of weekly basis. So I think that's actually a quite good quality. I tell people that I'm doing my midlife crisis on a homeopathic dose, if that makes sense. I take every, because the auditions come, you get your hopes up, you sort of commit to the character and trying to put something interesting in it, and that takes energy, and then they say no, and then you just go back to your life as it was 5 days before, and you just do that on repeat until somebody says yes. So it's kind of like always doing the midlife crisis, like one tiny bit at a time. Am I scared of anything like animals or bugs? I don't really like holding insects. Like if I have to get a spider out the room or something, spider out the window. Not a fan of the movement or the general feeling of those. I'm not scared of them when they're not in my proximity. Animals, no. Not in like a phobic way, but I've usually had a cage between me and the big ones, so I probably would be really scared if I came across a bear. Who is the artist of the painting behind you? I would love to shout out my friend Orlando Seal, who did... Let me turn it so you can see the full thing. This is a piece by my friend Orlando Seal, who's my friend and also was my my acting coach and general guru and spiritual advisor. He's definitely helped me through some of the pitfalls of trying to be a creative. Oh, there you go. His website has been put up in the chat. Thank you, Rachel. Do you celebrate 420? 420 would give me a panic attack. No thanks. What are you drinking? I'm drinking a mint tea, which is finished now. Who is your favourite poet? Well, I've recently started learning some poetry, and I've been learning the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. And the first time I read it, well, I heard it first. I heard it at a poetry reading by Tobias Menzies. Read it, and I thought, he was amazing, but also I thought, what the hell is this about? I didn't really understand it, and I've been learning it, and actually, the more I read it, the more I think, oh my God, this is just incredible. Because I'm a bit pedantic and I want things to have a very clear meaning, but that's not really what poetry is about. So the more I read it, the more I realise how genius it is. I think he was 24 or something when he wrote it, which is fucking annoying. I feel like you're only allowed to write brilliant things if you're older than me. You can't be younger than me and write stuff that's that good. Can you save this live? Yes, I will save this live. I will save the lives. I'll sign off now, but let's do this again. Where is everyone? What time does it make sense? Because I got messages from some people saying it's 3 a.m, please do it at a different time. Where are you all? I haven't read the spider poem, but I will read the spider poem. Inspired me not to kill spiders. Okay. It's not my first live, no, but it's my first one in a long while. In a long while. So it's mainly to prove that I have not. I'm not deceased. I'm alive and well. This is a good time here. Okay. 4:24 in it. Oh, that's why you asked about 4:20. Well, it's 9:20 here, so I've missed it by a few hours. And even if it was, I wouldn't have taken advantage of it. $2.24, $22.24. Okay, cool. Did you bring the belt back that you won in England? That's my brother asking me that. No, I had to give it back immediately so that they could give it to the next guy. You don't get to keep it. All right. Well, it was lovely to speak to you all. Do some live rambling. I'm going to think a bit more about this, a way to do sort of somewhere where we can keep in touch without me just posting random things once a year. You know what I mean? But until then, much love, and I'll speak to you later.